Hi everyone, my name's Anna Griffin. Welcome to Card Making Project 582. Today we're going to make a gorgeous card using our Anna Griffin items, and I'm going to be very controversial because we're using a black base blank card. That's difficult to say at the best of times. Instead of using an ivory or a white card, we're going to use a black one, and I just think it makes our embellishments just sing. It makes them stand out proud, and the contrast in the colours looks great. Please check my blog for the extra photos where you can see how well the colours look. Maybe you don't agree, maybe you do agree. Let me know, because I do love hearing from you. Everything I do use for the project will be listed on my blog, so it's well worth checking out, whether you're a new crafter or whether you're an advanced crafter. And it is nice to hear from you. You can always find me on Facebook and on Twitter, and I love seeing your creations. So without further ado, please sit back, relax and have a look at card making tutorial 582. For this tutorial we're going to be using the Anna Griffin decorative edge dies. We're actually going to be using this particular one and the ornate layer and the shadow layer. And I think these are beautiful dies and I probably don't use them enough. Now the card that we're going to make today is kind of a contrasting colour card, and I'm going to be very controversial because I'm going to use a black card blank. I've made this myself from a piece of 12 by 12 black scrapbooking cardstock. All I've done is cut it in half, and then I've folded the cardstock in half, and I'm using my bone folder from the Anna Griffin tool collection to make sure I've got a nice sharp score along the edge. Normally at this point I would say I've used my handmade by stamp. I haven't on this occasion. I should have stamped it using my perfect medium and my white embossing powder and then used a white pen. That would have worked. So do as I say, not as I do. So I haven't added my name on the back yet. Or maybe you've got labels. That would be great, wouldn't it, if you had a handmade by label and then add your name. Anything like that so the recipient knows that you've made it for them. So we're going to create the inside first. Now I've taken one of the papers from the feather collection, the feather cardstock collection from Anna, and I've cut it to 5.8 inches. So it's just slightly smaller than the 6 inches square, and it gives a really nice border around the edge of the card so that you can still see the black cardstock. Now I've left it in its entirety. I haven't been frugal with it and saved the centre. I've left it as a full piece because I don't want it to dip, because these are flat layers on the inside and sometimes they might dip a little bit if they're not thick layers. And that's quite a thick cardstock, so I think it would show through. Our next layer, because we want to be able to write a message in our card, this is just the back of a card that we actually used in our last tutorial where I cut out the card front and then we did paper cutting to cut out the diamonds from the pattern. So this is the back of the card. I'm not being wasteful. I haven't inked it or anything. I've just cut it into, I think it's a 5.5 inch square so that we can still see the cardstock behind, and it's a matte and layer effect for the inside of the card. It was on flat double-sided tape and I've just stuck it on top of the previous layer. So now we have somewhere to write our message and our to and from in the card. I've also taken the rose embellishments stickers from the crown embellishment stickers from Anna, and all I'm going to do is simply peel the back of it away, and I'm going to add them just to one corner like that and press them down. I've then taken one of the mini birthday stickers and sentiments, and where it was a 3D sticker I've peeled the top away and I'm using the top as a flat sticker, and I'm just simply going to add that to the top of our card, and that is our insert complete. How pretty is that, and how simple, and it's going to match perfectly to the outside. I just think that is so classy, I really do. And let's face it, when we create the insert, a lot of people don't, but that's the little bit that's personal. So when you give your card to your friend or your mum or your sister, whoever, and they open it, that's the bit they read, and that's your message to them. And we make the front so beautiful for everybody to see. I think the insides deserve to be pretty as well. So anyway, that's the inside for this. I'm just going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to make sure that score is still nice and sharp at the top. Our next layer, well, our first layer, is from the 6x6 Perfect Pattern card blanks. I've cut away the back of the card and then I've cut away the edging so it gives a lace effect at the bottom. On the back, I've got flat tape towards the top of the layer and 3D foam at the bottom. And this is going to give a raised effect when you pop it onto the card. And I'm going to just lay it roughly about there, because I've cut it just I was going to say 2/8. It's 5.8 from 6 inches. And then obviously the bottom we've got the edge. So it gives it the layered effect. That's our first layer. Next, this is where our decorative edge layers come in. I've cut the shadow layer in black, and then I've cut the ornate layer in Anna's metallic pink cardstock. I've trimmed it on the back of the actual ornate layer. I've got flat tape towards the top and 3D foam towards the bottom. And all I'm going to do is place one over the top of the other, and look at that gorgeous contrast. And then I can press it down at the top. I've got flat tape on the back of the black cardstock, and then I've actually cut it again as well. So the first one that we have is going to go towards the top of the card like this, and we're just going to literally position it so it's a fraction off the top of the layer. And then the second one, I can peel the flat tape off on the back of the black cardstock. It's going to just kind of overlap the previous one, just a little bit like that. Then if you've got any bits that need trimming off away from the edges, I think I'm fine because it's all black cardstock on the layers, then you could trim it away. So next I've taken a very rough cut oval, kind of an ovally circle, so you don't have to be too precise. And this again is from the feather papers and cardstock from Anna. I've got 3D foam on the back of that. And I've taken this gorgeous embellishment from the crown embellishment kit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to totally change it. So I'm going to take my scissors and I am going to simply cut into it at where the flowers are on the edge. So I'm going to trim that and trim that section. There we go. And then I'm going to cut the ribbon. Now I'm not going to be able to be very precise with this because I'm doing it in mid-air. But that's the base that I want. And then for the top, I'm just going to snip the ribbon, I think about there. So I'll snip that little bit away, and I'm just going to neaten up some of the greenery that's on the edges, like that. There we go. Then I'm going to peel the back of the top away and the back of the base, and we're going to add them to our rather strange shape. Now at home, obviously I've already put my 3D foam on the back of this and it's all prepared. So at home you would be able to do this flat on a surface. So I'm adding the top bit to our rough oval like that. There we go. And then I'm going to add the flowers, there we go, to the base of the oval. And then I'm going to add the whole thing, which got 3D foam on, to my card. And I'm adding it just over the top of the actual layers that we've just added from the decorative edge dies. There we go, compress that down. Then I've got one of the mini birthday sentiment stickers that I've actually put 3D foam on the back, and I'm going to just position that underneath the bow where it's hanging a little bit, and then to cover this little join I've taken one of the rose stickers like we used for the inside, and instead of using it as a sticker I've put 3D foam on the back, and I'm just going to attach that over that little join, and then we're finished. And how pretty is that? And now you've seen it put together, it's quite easy, and the contrast with the black, I love pink and black, it really does look effective on a card and on a scrapbook page. We match from the inside to the outside, it stands up perfectly. Now we've got a few layers on this, not too many, it would still fit in your envelope, and don't forget you've cut the card base yourself, so if you only had a certain size envelope you could cut your card base a little bit smaller. And it's just such a pretty card, and it just sings to me. You could change that for any occasion, it would be great for a wedding, and it would just look superb. You could do it in any colour. I've done it to match the colour of the paper because of getting the lace effect at the bottom. But you could go through your stash and see what you've got and maybe adapt it. Please check my blog for the list of everything that I've used, just in case I've missed anything. And I'll take lots and lots of photos of both inside and outside of the project. And I just hope you've enjoyed it. It's just such a pretty card, and I love that contrast with the black. So I would just like to say thank you so much for watching. I shall see you next time.